Oregon Ducks. What in your thought process and your selection process, what made you choose Oregon?
Yeah, choosing Oregon was a very easy decision. I kind of had three components I was really looking for: a chance to compete for a national championship, offensive fit, and then just surrounding pieces. And I think all three were very clear of kind of the great fit that it all aligned together. Speaking with Coach Lanning, Coach Stein, it was just very clear to everyone that's where I needed to be.
Mm.
Um, and it didn't take long. I remember, on that Sunday meeting with Coach Lanning, it was conversations of how we're going to do it, what's the move versus, any convincing. And I think that's just the connection and the alignment that we had with one another, and just the realness of conversation. Being in my sixth year of this, I can kind of tell what's real, what's not, and it was just very easy to tell with them.
You mentioned Coach Lanning and meeting with him. What stands out to you about him, or what do you think is about him that makes him special?
Yeah, I think, him being young in age definitely allows him to be more in tune with this, generation and kind of where things are headed towards. But also his respect for players, his ability to push players is something that he's found a great balance of, and I appreciate that. He'll love you up, but he'll also push you to your limits and try to make you the best version of yourself. So that's nothing you would ever want from a coach like him. He's everything you want, and I'm very appreciative of that. And just within my 7 months, everything that he said, he's kept his word, and it's something that, like I said, is different.
Yeah. You've obviously had a great career, successful career at three different, now your third school, UCF, Oklahoma, Player of the Year in the conference last year. A lot of games under your belt, right? Game experience. What do you feel like are the best strengths or the biggest things that you bring to the table now in this year for the Oregon offense?
Yeah, I know my strengths. I know what I'm good at. I know where I have to continue to improve and focus on. I also know that experience, playing in a bunch of different atmospheres, bunch of different environments, and a bunch of big games. I think that allows me to be more comfortable within the moment. And then also just my leadership. I truly believe that, as you get older and have this experience, you begin to be more comfortable with yourself, but also find that voice of a leader. A leader by example is just a good follower, and someone who's able to influence others, be vocal is a great leader, and be that voice when things aren't going right. And I've been in a bunch of different situations and circumstances throughout a game time, but also throughout a season. And I just believe that with our alignment here and my leadership skills, aligning with other guys on the team, we got a good group of guys that want to be great and push one another. So I think that aligns, and of course the offensive fit.
Yeah.
I think that gives confidence for a quarterback, knowing where the answers are, and just being confident in it. So
Yeah.
I think with all that to be said, Oregon's getting the best version of myself. I told that to the boys. We had a great off season, and leading into fall camp, that's where we separated.
Yeah. So you mentioned you know who you are, what you do well, what your strengths, what you need to keep working on. What are some of the things you feel like you need to keep working on, or you want to take another step in your own development?
Yeah, winning's a habit, and I've emphasized that this off season. Continue to win every single rep of whatever it may be. Continue to compete. I think I've always had that competitive nature, but competitive stamina, and continue to have that mindset every day, throughout the months of the off season, the summer leading into fall camp, but also just continue to be really good at taking what they give you, creating completions. I think completion percentage honestly only shows how good you are with the football and how trustworthy you are. So finding the ways to continue to create completions, and then also scoring in the red zone, being really good on third downs.
Yeah.
That's something that I'll forever and continue to work on, and has been a focal point, for me.
Have you been able to, obviously, you've got the same coordinator in Will Stein, another young guy that's a relatable guy. Um, were you able to learn a lot from watching what he was able to do with Bo Nix last year, a guy who's, in a very similar situation from you, played a lot of ball at a different school, came in here and just had a lights out kind of season last year?
Yeah, I think, when initially looking at Oregon, you see what the offense can look like when there's a quarterback on his P's and Q's and just producing at a high level. I think that's super attractive as a player to play an offense like that. But most importantly, watching the installs and him being in it, you see a quarterback that, like I said, is competing at a high level, producing at a high level. It's very easy to watch. You don't question decisions or anything like that. It's more like, why did he get there to which certain reads and, seeing the certain checks, within a drive. I think you just learn a lot, from that kind of experience. So I think it's super cool, having Coach Stein. He's, very in tune with the offense. He's been a great teacher for me in learning it. But just speaking the same language, over the course of 7 months, early on, I'm like, it was an adjustment.
Yeah.
But, going into that May, June, and July, I think that's where it really slowed down, changed for me to where, I'm not thinking about, the words necessarily or the language. Now I can just, create and execute at a high level.
So obviously this, you had a number of reasons why Oregon was the right fit,
Yep.
the right place for you. But one of the cool things that kind of went with that is you have a kind of a unique relationship with Marcus Mariota, who was the last Heisman Trophy winning quarterback here at Oregon and great pro. Talk a little bit about your relationship with him and just the connection and how important that is to you.
Yeah, whether Marcus knows it or not, the connection with him goes way back for me in terms of watching him play in high school. Him getting his shot, in the spring game in college, and then him ultimately playing at Oregon. It's a guy I've watched, admired, just the way he handles himself on and off the field. He represents himself in the right way, his university, his family. I think it's someone that you want to model yourself after. And I'm grateful that we had a great, leader, but also, face of Hawaii that kind of led the path for not only Hawaii, football players, but quarterbacks and more specifically. And, just being able to see that, I think he kind of paved the way and how we should do this thing, but also being true and authentic to who we are. And it's special. I don't, take it lightly that I get to wear the number 8. I see it as a honor and privilege, but also a lot of fun. Like who wouldn't want to wear that, after the guy you look up to. And then to second that, me finally being at Oregon where he was 10 years later, it's special. I know it's by God's design, and I'm right where I need to be, and I'm blessed to be where I'm at.
Yeah. So on that topic, you're going to be one of the preseason people that are talking about it at the Heisman. You're wearing number 8, right? Your team is being talked about as one of the contenders for the national champion, not just the Big Ten championship. Do you like that kind of pressure going into the start of this season?
Yeah, I think hype is cheap, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
I think preseason rankings are probably the most
They're
exciting,
bogus.
bogus, but exciting for fans and,
Yeah.
and to build the excitement. So I acknowledge that, but
Yeah.
I think on a competitive level, I've never let that fuel me. I've been at the top, I've been at the bottom of rankings, and I've been everywhere in between. But for the most part, at the end of the day, I think that what have you done for me lately is
Yeah.
really the daily product of what you produce is the key. That'll solve everything, and that's why I'm so focused on the moment and in the now, because that will all take care of itself.
You came from the Big 12, which was a competitive league. Now you're in the Big Ten and an expanded Big Ten with
Yep.
4 new teams. You're part of one of those new teams. But just your broad stroke impression or idea of what competition will be like in the Big Ten.
Yeah, extremely competitive. when I was, coming to Oregon and was making that decision, I also knew the Big Ten was involved. That's where, Oregon was headed. And it's, like I said, it's something that you want to be a part of. You want to play in the biggest moments, biggest atmospheres, environments. It's something that as a competitor you dream of. And you look for those big time games, week in, week out. It's what football's all about, let alone it's college football, the most exciting time for a lot of players. So I'm grateful for it. I'm excited. I know Big Ten football's, downhill, a lot of great defense, running the football, and competitive conference. So we're looking forward to it. We're excited. We're confident going into it, but also know we got our work cut out for us. So, having a great fall camp will be super important.
Yeah. The expanded playoff system, your feelings about that, and does that make it easier to have a path to a potential national championship?
I wouldn't say easier. I would just say more opportunities and better matchups. And I do believe that, the more the merrier. I think you've seen the success in, other sports in tournaments, whether it's March Madness or, baseball and softball do it, with their kind of brackets. But I'm a big believer in playing the best matchups, the best teams, play ball in December, January, and, having more opportunities. I think you'll have less, people sitting out. I think you'll have more exciting games, and season will be longer.
Yeah.
So everyone will be excited for that. And, of course, seasons will be longer, but I think, coaches and conferences understand that to, help on the athlete side.
Yeah. When you're not playing football or training for football or, doing those kind of things, what are some things that you like to do away from football?
Yeah, I think football life is pretty hectic and on the go, so I do like to relax and kind of slow life down a little bit, whether that's just being on walks with my dog Winston, hanging out with my girlfriend.
Kind of dog?
Miniature Schnauzer.
Okay.
So he's my best friend. He's a great listener. So he listens to all my stories, my venting sessions. But he's just, no matter a good day or a bad day, you come home and he's got a bunch of love. So he definitely changes my perspective on that. My girlfriend Zoe, she's always supported me, and I think the time together and the experience we've had on this journey, it's rewarding and a lot of fun to be together on this journey together. It's the best feeling, having that support. So when I get home and just being able to spend time with them, whether it's turning on a movie, cooking dinner, even though I'm hardly cooking, cutting up or, trying to help in other ways. I think that's just the fun times, being able to eat dinner together while Winnie's in my lap, and just having good conversation. I look forward to that kind of stuff. So that's kind of my,
Yeah.
relaxing side of things.
How long have you and Zoe been together?
We met in 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
6th grade orientation, had our little middle school dating, but met her in the garden. It's a little quick story. She was doing the green beans planting. I was planting some pumpkin seeds, but didn't go for the pumpkin seeds. Acted like I was in the green bean team, so I was able to, spit some game there, and then hopefully she fell in love right at that moment.
Oh.
But it's cool. I've known her for a bunch of time. She knows me, and like I said, she's just been on this journey and loves me through everything. But yeah, she's my rock.
Couple other little things. Just, you've been there 7 months. So what's the coolest or your favorite secret thing maybe you've learned about the University of Oregon or Eugene that you didn't know?
I would say, people probably knew this, but I guess it exceeded all expectations. Just the outdoors. Being able to go on walks. I live right by a butte, so I'm able to go, hike up the hill or butte, they call it, and just do a bunch of outdoors. I got the river, the Willamette River right by my house as well. So crossing over that bridge, just a lot of scenic beauty that you're able to see, and then the greenery. It's been beautiful to be able to just experience that. And like I said, with the hectic, high pace lifestyle in football, it's good to be able to dial back and relax and have that in your backyard.
Yeah. Last thing, and obviously this is important to all young people. The whole drip effect is important, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the uniforms and the gear and all that stuff that comes with being an Oregon Duck.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is. It's special, and I think that's the history, right? Being different in that way, and the cutting edge of uniforms, facilities, the whole nine, and then being in Nike's backyard. They definitely show a lot of love to us, but we're grateful for it. And I think, you go in that equipment room, you look in it. I mean, it's like a whole mall, of the stuff that you could get, and the stuff that they give us. So we're very blessed. We don't take that lightly, and Nike's love for us, but also just Oregon and that relationship. It's real and it's special.